Hello, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm again in my town as usual. The weather is not pretty good. I don't know if you can see in the background, but it's been raining from last 2 days, and it's quite cold. It's around 9:30 in the evening, and it's about 5 degrees, and I'm shivering. But I'm here because of only one person. That's my very good friend, and I'm gonna ask him some questions and interview him as my other videos. So stay connected, and we're gonna interview our friend. So let's start this video. So this is our guest for the day. So I'm not gonna tell him what to say, or I'm not gonna talk about him. He's gonna tell us about himself. So let's get started. Yamandas. So can you tell us something about yourself, bro?
Born and raised New Jersey, came to Japan 5.5 years ago to live here. Unfortunately, my girlfriend, ex-wife, whatever, we're not together, but it's all good. She's still my homie. Love is love. Akiramanai. Akiramanai means never give up in Japanese.
Okay. Thank you very much for sparing your time. I know it's quite late. I'm holding you up.
It's okay.
It's a bad day for the weather, but it was really nice seeing you since I came back from Japan. I know we have been seeing each other for a long time.
Choi Sashibori.
Yeah, sashibori. Sashibori means seeing each other for
I haven't seen you
the
in a
first
long
time or long time no see. So let's start with some basic questions. You are from
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
But I grew up next to New York. I got New York Giants T-shirt on today. That's the American football style.
Yeah.
We're chilling, but I got the old school Puma.
Yeah. You are from a pretty big city. So what brings you to Japan? How come you landed up in Japan?
It's a really crazy story actually, but one day I was leaving a bar in New York that I used to work at, and we had a small high school reunion, and my ex-wife at the time, she was my kanajo, which means girlfriend. We saw some Japanese people on the street, and she's like, oh, they're Japanese. I said, please talk to them. She goes, no, we don't do this in Japan. So I say, well, you should talk to them. No. So because I was drunk and I was, whatever, we're not going to talk about the Midori lover. And I said, hi, moshi moshi. Because that's the only Japanese I understood at the time, being with her, which is what they say when they pick up the phone. So when you pick up the phone in Japan, you say hi, moshi moshi. And the people that were sitting along this fence in the Lower East Side of Manhattan were like, what? And I was like, now you have to talk to them. So my wife started talking to them, and then I disappeared and came back, and they happened to be from Kyoto. And that day, they didn't have a place to sleep. So I was like, come, let's go drink some beer. So I bought them a bunch of beers, and I asked them, why are you on the street? They're like, oh, our Airbnb opens up tomorrow. So I was like, where are you staying today? They said, we don't have a place to sleep. I said, okay, you're coming to my house in New Jersey. So I took random strangers from Kyoto to my house in New Jersey.
Oh, that was very nice of you. And how long have you been in Japan?
5.5 years.
5.5 years. So, of course, you were already from a very big city. You're a big city boy. So, was there something different you found when you first came to Japan compared to your own city?
Yeah, I mean, people are very respectful. I know it's very peaceful. It's very safe. You don't have to worry about crime, and as long as you treat people with respect, you get respect, and that's part of the reason why we're having a conversation right now.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about Japan. like it's a very safe country. And like you mentioned, like you were in New Jersey.
Hi.
So compared to New Jersey, how do you find Japan? Like, are there any similarities or something different?
Similarities would be, I know, the fact that they love, I know, a lot of things I love that I grew up on, which is, I know, street culture, which is related to like 90s hip hop or graffiti, I know, sneakers, and things that you tend to understand. So you don't have to be worried about not knowing the language. You can just come here, and if you like to eat, you like to drink, and you like to listen to music, the Japanese people will love to take care of you. And I honestly understand that, and it was hard for me to figure it out, but you don't have to worry. Just come on.
And I have a very special question for you.
Hi.
Because I know a lot of foreigners, especially from America, England, Canada, New Zealand, they come over here to teach English.
Hi.
When you first came to Japan, did you start teaching or were you doing some other jobs?
Well, I came to Japan for a certain circumstances based on a family issue, and it was the best idea to make sure that my ex-wife could see out her father's life. So we came, but no, I came for the reason that I think that there's an opportunity that you can never get, and if you don't try, you'll never know, and if you don't succeed, you'll never know. So therefore, we had to do some things to understand that moving here is going to be difficult for me, of course, and that's probably the reason why she's my ex-wife, but it's okay. She's very, very strong woman. She's a good friend of mine, but at the same time, don't come here with the expectations that because you speak English and you're living in a new country, you have to adapt, and don't think that you need to go looking for people. Adapt to the culture, and culture meaning bunka, and respect the people that are here. Because it's important for us to understand that this is not our home, we're just guests in this house. And the guests in this house we're an island, this is an island nation. Being an island culture, there's so many things that you have to understand and adapt to. And if you don't want to adapt to it, then I would suggest you stay home.
Thank you very much for sharing such important information for the gaijins or the foreigners who are watching this video. And let me ask you, it's a bit of a personal question. If you don't mind, what kind of jobs have you done since you came to Japan?
I've only worked in bars and hospitality, and it's been a very interesting, difficult, I know, mountain climb, if you could say. But within that aspect, you know, you meet a lot of characters that tend to not understand that you're struggling to survive and do your best. And they're looking for things to try to help you, meanwhile they're stable, and you're not. But that goes back to me wanting to say one thing, Akimanai, never give up, and don't look for people to assume they're going to help you. Just help others so we can continue to grow and be strong in this world.
Oh, that's a very nice point, especially a nice suggestion for the newcomers who are trying to get their feet in Japan. And like you said, most of the time you work as a bartender.
Yeah.
So you must be very good with your alcohol.
Yeah, I do like to drink a lot, but also it's helped me learn my Japanese. But again, if you're afraid to learn Japanese or you have fear, and I've been living here for 5 years and I don't study much, but alcohol, food, and music is a language within itself, so you don't have to worry about these things. Just respect the people while you're here and take care of each other. And if you need help, people will be here to help you and support you, but don't look for the handouts of the people that are there to help you and support you. Try to do your best on your own.
So as you said, you worked as a bartender most of your time in Japan. Let me ask you something about alcohol. What's the main difference between America and Japan? What's the taste difference when it comes to alcohol? What kind of drinks American prefers and what kind of drinks do Japanese prefer?
I mean, where I'm from in America, because it's next to New York, we have different varieties, and there's so many, I don't know, different people from all over the world. But in Japan, you must understand that shochu is a big point. And shochu pairs well with certain dishes that they create for people to eat and enjoy. And these are based off local izakayas that you get to go to. Shochu could be made from potato, rice, and it could be made from sugarcane, which is rum-based. And there's a lot of things designed about that culture, and you have to learn to drink it with water or tea or hot water. It depends on the time of year. But then there's Nihonshu being sake, and there's so many different varieties of sake that I don't understand, but I'm still learning to grow because I don't want to give up on not learning to know that.
Thank you very much for sharing your information about alcohol. So let me ask you some questions again related to alcohol. So as you come from America, but now you're in Japan, would you like to share what kind of Japanese alcohol or what kind of Japanese drink you love to drink?
I mean, one of my favorite drinks when I go to a local bar is called shochu mizuwari. Mizuwari meaning water. So they take this alcohol-based spirit, and I love imo being sweet potato, or kokuto joju, which is based off sugarcane, and they mix it with water. And it balances everything out. And what's good about that is you can drink a lot of it and not get so drunk because the water helps you stay hydrated. But
Okay.
also, things that maybe people don't really understand or know about highball. Highball being just whiskey and soda. Soda, if you don't understand that word soda, you can just say tansan in Japanese.
Okay, let's get back to America. So when you were back in America, what kind of drinks or what kind of liquor you enjoyed back home?
Back home, I mean, a variety of things because I worked in bars in New York City and New Jersey. But if I was just want some regular drink when I finish a long day at work, I just go get a Heineken and a Jameson shot. Very
Oh.
simple.
Okay, so that's good. Is there any particular food from America that you miss in Japan?
Yes, but that food comes from Mexico. It's called tacos.
Okay, you're a big fan of tacos.
Yeah, I love
Did you find any good place in Japan where you can enjoy good tacos?
Yeah, there's some place in Shibuya called Casa de Sarasa. She's also one of the biggest DJs in Tokyo and also in Japan. But there's also another place that you have to just go and explore. I miss cheeseburgers. I'll tell you one thing I really do miss is a slice of pizza. It's hard to find a good slice of pizza in Japan.
Okay, yeah, I do agree. I was in New Zealand and Australia, and I did love the pizza over there. Compared to it, the pizza is way different and doesn't taste that good. Okay, let me ask, we were talking about food. How about Japanese food? Is there any particular Japanese food which you are really into?
I'm a super ramen lover. And I was very fortunate enough to get introduced to an application called Ramen Data. So I can research how to find the best ramen in the neighborhood you're in. So you just can pinpoint where you're at, and then it shows you the best ramen shops in the area. So then you can just try. And you don't have to be fearful of ordering ramen. You don't need Japanese. You just put your money in the vending machine that they have, which is called Jiro Hanbaki, and you press the button and you get a ticket and you give it to the people working at the ramen shop, and they give you the food.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing your food preferences. And I might have some couple of friends who love going to bars and they love their drinks, especially cocktails. So, of course, you are a professional bartender,
Yes.
so you know way better about alcohol and cocktails. So, if some of my friends would love to go to the bar and they want something strong, something hard as a cocktail, which cocktail would you recommend them to order?
I would say order a Manhattan, but if you're in Japan and you have the money to spend, I would just say try to enjoy some of the best Japanese whiskey in the world.
Okay. Can you tell us in brief, like which brands of whiskey?
Hibiki, Yamazaki, Hakushu. Uh, those are very, very high level, delicious Japanese whiskeys. They have a Scotch element to it, but if you want to enjoy a very nice cocktail, I would just ask your bartender, osusume. Osusume means, can you please recommend some whiskey cocktail? And that's my preference to drink. I love bourbons, I love Japanese whiskey, I love Scotch, so always tasting.
Yeah, thank you very much for your recommendations. I might have some friends who might be watching from Australia, New Zealand, Canada, or Australia.
Awesome.
They might not get all those choices in their country. So let's keep it generic. So let's say in any Western country, if you go to a regular bar where they don't really have the option to order Japanese cocktails or liquor or whiskey, which cocktail would you recommend?
I would always say maybe an old fashioned. Well, an old fashioned is just a whiskey based cocktail that is served on the rocks with some sugar. But we use simple syrup back home. And simple syrup is just, I know, sugar water, gum syrup, as they say in Japan, with some Angostura bitters. And bitters are good for your stomach after you eat a big meal. And then they make, I know, they stir it in a rocks glass with some delicious whiskey. Whatever whiskey is your preference that you see at the bar, and then they should put an orange peel on top, and then you have the essence and the oils from those fruits, and then you get good taste of good whiskey, and you can enjoy a nice drink.
Wow, that's very informative for especially my friends who love drinking. Let me tell you, like back in India, most of the Indians we love whiskey and scotch. We don't drink beer that much. Let's ask some questions about beer. Do you often drink beer in Japan?
Yeah, because I've been very lucky to work for some craft beer companies in this country, and I learned a lot about craft beer while living in Japan. So my favorite style beer is IPA or hazy IPA. IPA being very bitter, but hazy IPA has a very juice-forward fruit taste to it. But it can have like a high alcohol content, but it tastes very easy to drink. So you have to be careful not to drink too much of it.
Okay. Any beers back from home which you miss in Japan, which you can't find in Japan?
No.
Mostly.
Because to be honest with you, I normally drank Japanese beer back home.
Okay.
But I don't know. Japan is an alcohol paradise. So just enjoy what you love, and just be careful about drinking too much.
My Indian friends, after watching your interview, will be very eager to come to Japan.
Please come on and let's enjoy drinking together and eating together.
Okay. Let's forget about alcohol. Let's talk about some other stuff about Japan in general. So you have been in Japan for a long time. You have visited couple of cities in Japan, I hope. What was your favorite place in Japan?
Kyoto is my favorite place. I've been there 10 times. But outside of Kyoto, Matsumoto, which is in the mountains, there's a beautiful castle and very relaxed place in Nagano. Then there's a place called Aomori, which is in the top of Tohoku. Very interesting place where you can get wonderful food and enjoy the seaside and experience very local culture. And then also Amami Oshima. A lot of people come here to go to Okinawa, but Okinawa people tend to be tired because the military is down there.
Yeah.
But if you want to go to a local place, you can find many islands very close by. It's better to go there,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So we have been talking about a lot of positive stuff. So there are always like two sides of a coin. So let's talk about some bitter experiences or something which you didn't really enjoy since you have stayed in Japan. So was there anything which you didn't really like in Japan?
I know. Let's start speaking. There's points where you have to adjust your mind to dealing with people that you're not sure about. Then also the language barrier being difficult. But understand, most people are here to help you, but when it comes to the downside, there's people always wandering around looking for handouts or thinking that you can help them when they have a better situation than you do. And in those certain circumstances, you have to understand that whether they're taking advantage of you or they're being truthful. And in those situations, it's very difficult because maybe you build a relationship with them over time, but it's so hard to understand if they're being honest or they're just trying to be aware of their own self-interest. And in that situation, you need to know that do what you can do for the best, but these people will take advantage of you, and I don't want to swear, but they will fuck you over if they don't even realize what they're going to do. And in the long term, they should be there to help you, but they're actually not helping you.
Thank you very much for sharing your personal experience. As you mentioned, you had a Japanese wife. Let's talk about Japanese women in general. All women are not same. It goes for every country.
Yes.
But what was your experience having a Japanese wife?
She wanted the best for me, but the thing was, I had a lot of personal issues and I resisted a lot of my, certain situations that I should have just adapted to. And I can only suggest to you, just don't resist. Try to figure out and adapt and adjust and do best for yourself. But if you're going to take advantage of people, then you probably shouldn't come here. But if you're going to come here, make sure that your wife is out for your best interest and she's going to look out for you to the best of your ability. But if you don't understand that, then all you're going to do is make other people feel sorry and they're going to look after you. But then again, you're going to end up in a situation that most people would never want to be in, and it's very difficult to survive those situations. And if you continue to understand that, the woman will always be there for you. But understand that it's going to be difficult no matter what, because she's just here to make sure you're okay. And she's going to love you no matter what, and she's going to take care of you. But if you don't respect those things, and I'm personal experience, I made a lot of mistakes and I really miss my wife. But unfortunately, I didn't understand what she was trying to teach me and do the right things. And because of that, I lost her. But we're still friends to this day.
Thank you very much again for your sharing your personal information. As you know, I'm also married to a Japanese. My wife is Japanese. We have been married for nearly 17 years. It's been a long time. So if we have to wrap it up, let me ask you, if you have to mention some good points of having Japanese wife, how would you describe it?
I will know that she'll always be there for you as long as you do the right things, and she'll take care of you to understand that it's not going to be easy for you to be here, but as long as you're capable of being a good person and taking care of people and looking out for each other, she's always going to be by your side. And those things is what's going to carry you, whether you're still trying to learn the language or fighting to learn the language.
Okay.
But if you're going to give up on the language, which I've done often, I would say don't give up. Just make sure that you can always push yourself and enjoy it, because she's always going to be by your side to make sure you're happy, and she wants to do the best for you. Whether things are hard or whether things are great. No matter what, it's going to be okay.
I'm very glad to hear your answer because I feel the same for my wife. She's very understanding and she has been very cooperative and handling me. I think like if I was married to Indian woman, she would have left me way long ago. She has been tolerating me for bloody last 17 years. Again, what is the hard part of having Japanese wife? What is the difficult part?
Difficult part is that I know they put family first, and when you want to have your free time to do what you feel, maybe they don't want you to always do it. But at the same time, they're going to balance that out. But it's always going to be difficult to have that separation and build your friendship. And when you build your friendships with people, whether they're Japanese or foreigners, she has to understand that you can't let the foreigners complicate your life. And she doesn't want to see you be depressed or sad or not happy. They always want to make sure that you're going to be okay. So that can be a tough situation to work through.
So that was my friend today. I'm very thankful for him for sparing his time in such a bad weather. On the last note, I would like to ask him what would be your message for the people who haven't been to Japan and who would love to visit Japan. Would you love to give some message?
Yes. And when you come to Japan, just please understand that the circumstances are always going to be challenging. And you're going to always face things that are not easy, but don't give up. And just respect the people and the culture and adapt to the things that they're trying to teach you. And just try to think, what would you do if they were in your house? Because they want you to come to their house, and they're always going to look out for you.
Okay, thank you very much for your time today, bro.
Yeah, man.
So, this was my friend Patrick from America. I hope you enjoyed today's interview. It took us a bit long, but we were enjoying our drinks, and the weather is pretty shitty. So, I would like to again give a shout out to my friend for coming to my place in such a bad weather. And do comment what do you think about this video. I'll try to bring more such videos about different people around the world and ask them about their experience in Japan. So stay tuned. I'll be back with some other video. Until then, take care. Goodbye. Sayonara.